Hey, welcome to the Crazy Dre podcast show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time to do your Detroit Pistons recap on certain games. I'm going to try to keep it short and simple. I'm going to try to keep it clean. Uh, Detroit Pistons obviously has the best uh, record in the Eastern Conference. It is a bit deceptive about that, and I'm really particular about this. Uh, Even though Detroit is number one. They have a team defense, team hustle, team atmosphere. Everyone plays for each other and for the game itself. But I'm going to talk about the Cleveland game, and I'm going to talk about the game that I'm watching right now is Orlando Magic. And I'm going to keep it kind of, elusive a little bit. I'm not going to get too serious about it, but the Detroit Pistons beat Cleveland 119 to 122. The game went in overtime. It was a good game, but it should have not been that close. However, uh, I will tell you that if it wasn't for Dennis Jenkins' three quarters of a half court shot, uh, if it wasn't for Jalen Tyson foul, the game would have been over. So thank you, Cleveland. Thank you, Tyson, for that foul. Um, but let's really get down to it. So Detroit is having issues with the 3 point shots, and I've been talking about Duncan Robinson, and Duncan Robinson is your is obviously he's the guy that you signed for $55 million a year. I mean, for 2 years in the offseason. He was supposed to take over for Malik Beasley, and I'm not really sure if Detroit would have signed him for that much money if Beasley was playing. But at times like this, you kind of miss Beasley, right? Uh, as of right now, if you look at Duncan Robinson, he's 0 for 3 for 3 pointers, and everyone says and talks to me like he's almost 40% the whole year, and he's just not on, and you just don't like him. Okay, let's be real. It'd be nice if he hits a 3 point shot when the game isn't on the line or you're not losing or winning by 15 points. It means nothing if you're winning or losing by 15 points and you hit a 3 pointer when you need a shot to go down, when you're up by two, up by three, down by five, stuff like that. And you know what? Cade Cunningham, they move the ball around the court, and Duncan Robinson is wide open because Cade or Jalen Duren are the guys who are primarily touching the ball. But when you dish it back out to Duncan Robinson, he's supposed to be a 3 point shooter, and he's not doing it. However, you see the guys next to him, Tobias Harris and to Sir Thompson. Those guys are not going to be your 3 point shooters. They're just not. Also, Thompson is more of a defensive player. He gets more of the points and the fast breaks. He's has an incredible improvement with ball handling from last year to this year. So that in itself is something to consider. However, when you look at Tobias Harris, he's a veteran and he can't do everything that Duncan Robinson should be able to do. He Tobias, he's a little older. He's going to need more space. You're going to need him set him up better. But he's making big time shots for Detroit. And if it wasn't for Tobias Harris, the veteran play, selling down the team, I don't know where Detroit would be. Also, Thompson, he's becoming more primarily the player that you didn't know that he was going to be developed in this way. You thought that he was being more defensively, but he's becoming more offensive player. As of right now, Tobias Harris has 15 points, uh, 6 for 12 on the floor, 1 for 3 for 3 pointers, and 2 for 2 for on the free throw lines. Um, Sir Thompson has 4 points, 2 for 3 with field goals. He's got 6 rebounds as of right now. I'm talking about the game with Orlando and in Detroit. Detroit's on the road right now. But as I'm talking about this game, I'll be talking about how this development of the 3 point shots and where it's going, and how the Cleveland game put a more perspective to it. So if you look at down here with Dennis Jenkins, he's only played for 5 minutes, but he doesn't have any points, 0 for 2 on field goals, no 3 point attempts. And if you look at if you look at Cade Cunningham, he's 9 for 20 for field goals, 25 points, 2 for 8 for 3 pointers. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, folks. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you look, if you look at Cade Cunningham and you watch him play, he's going to get worn out. By the end of the year, if they don't find a shooter to shoot the ball with him passing the ball to and make it in a consistent pace, Detroit's going to have problems. Detroit will have problems in the playoffs because you're going to wear him out. The games are like one on, day off, one on, day off, and then you travel. And if regardless if Detroit gets the bye games in the first series, you know, when you go into the second and third round, he's going to be playing more. I mean, obviously they're going to play like 7 games or 5 games within 9 days. So that in itself is kind of, you know, you got to just think about that. And if you look and if you look at the Cleveland game, you look at the Cleveland game. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Uh, um, the 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 field goal percentages were about the same. The 3 points percentage was uh, 37% for Cleveland and only 22% for Detroit. Detroit only made 6 3 pointers out of 27 against Cleveland, and they still beat them. Okay, and then you go from free throws, 74% to 73% Detroit. Uh, Rebounds, Detroit had 56. Cleveland only had 41. Detroit had 21 offensive rebounds and 30 for defense, 35 for defense rebounds. The assists was 26 to 32. Detroit had 26. You took a, if you took it if you take a look at points off turnovers, Detroit had 11. Cleveland had 20. Uh, Fast break points, Detroit had 11, and Cleveland had 7. So if you look at this game, and if you look at that stat of the game, I mean, I don't want to pick on Duncan Robinson, but this is the reason why you get the guy. This is the reason why you get Duncan Robinson to to make more than just out of that game against Cleveland. Duncan Robinson had 2 for 8 for 3 pointers. Total of field goal percentage was 3 for 9. Now the numbers look fine, like 3 for 9. That's what, almost 33% or something like that. 2 for 8. That's not even 50%. You need to be 4 for 8 to be 50%. 3 for 8 would be like, I think it's 2 for 8. So it'd be like, I mean, 2 for 8 would be like 20, 30% of the most. That's not good enough. I mean, that's just not good enough. You just can't rely on Cade Cunningham with 25 points. Jalen Duren, well, you know, Jalen Duren, and that's at this time of his career, he's going to get you those points because he's been more aggressive towards the basket. That's something that uh, uh, Jalen Duren has been able to figure it out for himself, that he can get to the basket and he can make himself a presence. And by going after the defender within around the rim, it makes them a lot more easier. Okay, so if you have Jalen Duran and you have Cade Cunningham, you have one guy from the inside, one guy from the outside. You know, Detroit's missing like a Rick Hamilton or Joe Dumars or even a Bill Laimbeer. Bill Laimbeer hit 3 pointers all the time, right? But if the ball is coming your way, you know, Duncan Robinson should be making more shots. And maybe what I would tell the coaching staff for Detroit is maybe Duncan Robinson, instead of sitting on that 3 point line, take a couple steps in and make a 2 pointer. I'd rather take a 2 pointer than a 3 pointer if he's struggling with a 3 point shot. I'm just keeping it real. If you look at that Cleveland game, you had Jaron Allen for 25 points, 10 for 12 for field goals, 9 rebounds. If you look at the Evan Mobley, 23 points, 9 for 12, uh, uh, 12 rebounds. Dennis Schroeder, 12 points, 4 for 15, 1 rebound, 9 assists. 9 assists is pretty good for Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder for Detroit last year, phenomenal player, came off the bench, a very high energy type of player. Uh, Unfortunately, there was a time there was a period of that game where some fan said something uh, vague to him, and it was not really good at all. So that's not cool. But Dennis Schroeder, let's go back. Dennis Schroeder. There's a reason why we didn't probably. Well, there's a reason why we didn't try to sign Dennis Schroeder probably because he went 4 for 15. Okay, if he was maybe 8 for 12, those consistent, he probably would not be a player that moved to one team to the next team. He'd probably be sitting on a certain team as a starter. Sam Morril, 20 points. And Jalen Tyson, 15 points, 4 for 7 for field goals. So without Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, I'm not sure if Detroit would have won that game. I just don't know. Especially, you just have to score points. You just have to hit those 3 pointers. And if you look at the game right now that we're talking about for Orlando and Detroit, Detroit's up by 10, 81-71 at this point in the third quarter. If you look at if you look at the team stats right now and I'm just going to go down to the 3-point line, man. Detroit is 4 for 24, and that's 17%. You cannot win NBA games in this era when you're only 22% on 3-point lines. You just can't. 17% for 3 pointers, 4 for 24. I mean, and if I go back up here again, the box score on the same game of the Detroit and Orlando. Um, it just isn't looking good. It just isn't looking good when you. I don't know how to explain it. I just don't like the idea that we're winning this game right now, but we're not hitting 3 pointers. I don't know why it's so important for us to hit 3 pointers right now. And I think that what it is really, when I watched Detroit lately, the last month straight, is that those easy 3-point shots that you should just get it in there easy. So when even if a fast break point or plays being set up or guys are moving between picks or players are getting open, and then you throw the ball to the player on the 3-point line. If you're not hitting those in the playoffs, it's going to bite you in the butt. It just is. It really, really is. Another stat I wanted. Well, let's look at this other stat stuff. Rebounds. Detroit has 43 to 30 from Orlando's got 30. If you look at the free throws, uh, 26 free throws for Orlando, 22 free throws for Detroit. Um, so that's Detroit's getting to the line, but I I feel like Detroit's going to have to hit 3 pointers, and I don't expect Dennis Jenkins to be hitting them. Tobias Harris, he'll get hot a couple times. Cade Cunningham will get hot and hit his spots too, but even with Isaiah Stewart, who's out, he's been throwing 3-point shots up there too, but lately he hasn't. Well, obviously he's suspended for another 2 or 3 days, but that's how I kind of want to put this game into perspective. This is how I want to put this game in perspective. If Detroit makes the playoffs, and I go through these games, if Detroit makes the playoffs, which they will, they'll be in the number 1 seed, and if they shrink a little bit, they'll go down to number 2. But if Detroit makes the playoffs and they have to go against a team that's hitting the 3-point shots, we may lose that game. Because if they're hitting 3 pointers left and right, and Detroit, is setting up plays And then Duncan Robinson or Sasser or even Tobias, if they're not hitting 3-pointers, and if Cade Cunningham isn't hitting 3-pointers, Detroit's going to be in a little bit of heap of trouble. So don't let the record deceive you. I think Detroit's going to need to figure out how to get 3-point shots in there. And the one thing I would tell people or anything about Detroit is if you're struggling from the 3-point line, don't keep shooting free throws, the 3-pointers. Step in a little bit, take a 2-point shot, work your way back up to the 3-point line, you'll be fine. I'm honestly true. I'm honestly trying to make this sense for you guys. I want like Dennis Jenkins, if he's struggling. I want Duncan Robinson, and even Holland, if he's struggling. Ronald Holland Jr., even he's trying to hit 3-pointers. And you know that he's kind of pushing it because that's not really his game. His game is more of being an aggressive defender and aggressive rebounder, and that's how he gets his points. So Ronald Holland, I think that he should not be throwing 3-pointers. He just take it in. And if you are trying to hit 3-pointers and you can't hit them, take a couple steps in. I know I sound like a coach. I sound like people like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. But I don't know. This is what I think. Let me know what you feel. Follow me on the Patreon. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me anywhere that you can download the podcast. Peace, love, and I'm out of here, folks. Let's go, Detroit.